The Weekly Warp Pipe.
Hey guys, welcome to the Weekly Warp Pipe, a podcast dedicated to retro video games, 80s and 90s toys, and all things nostalgia. This week's episode, we're taking you back to the 80s and 90s arcades. That's right, classics, Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, Street Fighter, all those fun arcade machines. We're going to be talking about ones that we played, places that we go to play arcade machines, and the state of arcades today. It's a fun episode. I'm joined with my host, Jay, the NES Addict. And be sure to check out RussLyman.com for all updates on my other YouTube channels, merch, and much, much more. Let's get into the episode. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Weekly Warp Pipe. I'm your host, as always, RussLyman, and with me...
What's up, guys? It's me, NES Addict.
Yes, we are back. I'm excited for this episode.
Yeah, me too. It's going to be a good one, for sure.
We're talking about arcades. Going to arcades, playing the arcade machines, some spots that we hit up, and, maybe the state of arcades today as well.
Yeah, arcades, man. Like, that was a total, 80s. It just takes you right back to the 80s. Like, it was 80s
and a little bit into 90s, I say, too.
For sure.
I imagine they even started in the 70s, but me and you weren't born then. So
there you go. So for me, it started in 81 as well for you.
That's as far back we're taking you on the nostalgia trip today with the Warp Pipe.
That's right.
The local spot that I had, I live in Connecticut, was originally called Milford Rec, or Milford Amusement Center. Later on, it changed its name to Smiles. I don't know why.
That's hilarious.
But it had set up arcade machines and a billiard pool hall for kind of the older adults. And then in the back, they had mini golf, batting cages, and bumper boats. So this was like an all one-stop fun adventure place.
One-stop shop.
Oh, and they had laser tag too. It was called Qzar.
Qzar.
Yeah.
Sounds so futuristic.
My friend Aldo always brings this up, but I don't remember it. He does. Right near the Qzar where you would go in, for your matches. They had a couple games down in that section as well. And they had a Resident Evil Code Veronica light gun game, which I never seen or played before, but he swears it was there and he played it a bunch of times.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely like to add that to my arcade collection. Definitely a big Resident Evil fan. I'm sure that was a blast. I enjoyed the Wii games, the Chronicles. What was it? The Umbrella Chronicles on the Wii that were light gun games.
Gotcha. I think I only played Resident Evil on. Was it the PlayStation it first came out on?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I only played the first one, and it was at a friend's house, so I didn't get too into that.
Gotcha. But we're sidetracking a bit. What was your first arcade game that you played, Jay?
You would think that I would know. I sadly don't know what the first arcade game I played,
or at least the one you can remember, because I don't know the exact one. I have a pretty clear idea, but
oh man, I don't even know. I remember playing Ghosts and Goblins.
Mm-hmm.
I remember playing the Ninja Turtles arcade, The Simpsons. Final Fight was later on, but as far as my first one, unfortunately don't know. It was probably like Pac-Man or Donkey Kong or something like that.
Right, one of the classic ones, yeah.
But I don't really know.
I'm going to go on a limb. I don't know if it's exactly my first one, but I have more memories of it, and that would be Street Fighter 2.
That was your first?
I think so.
That's pretty late in the game.
Yeah, I didn't get to arcades till I was probably, 10 or something.
Yeah.
Maybe 8 or so. I don't know. It was at a local Quick Stop, it was called, like a convenience store. And I mean, at least I have the most memories of that, going up to the Quick Stop, playing this game or seeing the other kids play it. And I kind of huddled around and okay, let me see, what they're playing, checking it out. And I remember I would get quarters out of my mom's purse. And I would sneak them out and walk to the convenience store to play some Street Fighter.
That's hilarious.
I might have played, Donkey Kong and Galaga possibly at some other place, but I have, vivid memories of the Street Fighter cabinet there being up there.
Sorry, Mom.
So fun backstory. My mom, growing up, worked at a bowling alley called AMF Lanes in Milford. And most bowling alleys back in the day got to have arcade games.
Yeah, ours had its own like little blocked off section. It was like its own little room.
Yeah,
that bowling alley is still there today, and they still have that room. It just doesn't have as many arcades as it used to.
Oh, that's cool. You could kind of take a nostalgia trip back there.
Yeah,
but my mom would work there, and I was young, so she wouldn't have a babysitter. So I would go with her to the bowling alley, and then pretty much hang out in the arcade room. Obviously, so she was a waitress there. So I would bug her to get quarters so I could play some of the arcade games.
That's amazing.
But then, you blow through them so quick, you're going to be there for an 8-hour shift. My mom's probably working, and I have $5. It's like, so I'm mostly watching other people play, because you go play, like a Street Fighter, this and that, you're done in like 2 minutes or whatever, if you're not good at the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you're not the man, you're gonna get off the cabinet quick.
I mean, arcades are made to take your money, so they're supposed to be quick plays, essentially, and you feed it in the quarters to continue. That's how they make their money.
Yeah, we had a place at our mall called Aladdin's, and my friend Brad, his mom used to take us there all the time, and they would just get us like $50 worth of quarters. It was crazy. They just went, they went ham. Like, they didn't hold back. And we'd leave there with we played everything. And then also like tons of stuffed animals from like the grab machine.
Right. I was going to say getting the tickets from the machines. So the claw machine too works.
I don't know if they had the tickets there. So I it's weird because I played arcades at several places. So the bowling alley.
Yep.
Aladdin's at the mall.
Okay.
We used to have a dollar theater here in Greenville.
Wow.
And the
dollar movies.
Yeah. And the perimeter of the building was like a second floor. So you would go up this huge flight of stairs, and there was games all the way around the top of the movies. And that's where I remember playing Simpsons, like X-Men,
nice.
Turtles, all that stuff. Ghosts and Goblins. So it was there, Aladdin's, the bowling alley. And there was one other place I was going to tell you, but it's totally escaping my memory. So when I remember it, I'll tell you. But
perfect. Yeah. I mean, we had the Fourplex Theater that was in Milford, 4 screens, and they had, of course, claw machines there and a few arcade machines. I definitely remember playing Rampage a lot, like at the movie theater.
Oh yeah, I played that too.
Smashing stuff. That definitely became a favorite game to play. Pinball. I played a lot of pinball at the bowling alley. My top 2 pinball machines, I guess I don't have 3. Third one could be whatever. Top two is Addams Family and then Terminator 2.
Nice.
Because they had those there, so I would just memorize it over and over again, like the sayings that they would say on it. And it was just a good time playing those.
Yeah, I played a lot of pinball too. Pinball was fun because every now and again you would just catch a random pinball machine somewhere. Oh, the other place I was going to say was Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut. They had a Mortal Kombat and a Street Fighter there.
Really? They didn't have a Turtles.
They didn't have a Turtles, but they had those two. So it was like when we were at that like 90, 91, 92 kind of age.
Yeah.
It was like, where do you want to eat? I'm like, oh, let's go to Pizza Hut. And it was like, we didn't really care about the pizza. We just wanted to play Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter when it was over.
There you go. I will say, that was very big back in the 80s, 90s. If you were like a pizza, like a regular pizza place, a local pizza chain, you might have an arcade machine in there to bring some extra money. Maybe just one. Maybe it's Galaga. Maybe it's Final Fight or a Multicade in there, so the kids can play while you're waiting for the pizza, and you may make some extra money.
I just watched a video today on YouTube by this channel called The Company Man.
Okay.
And it was about he does like the rise and fall of companies.
Yep.
And this one was about Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, okay.
So an interesting fact about Chuck E. Cheese was the guy that started it worked for Atari. Did you know this?
No.
So he worked for Atari, and he was selling all these cabinets to all these like mom and pop shops for like around $1,500.
Yeah.
But then the shops would make like $30,000 to $40,000 to $50,000 on the machine over its lifespan.
Right.
So he was like, man, I'm really like losing out on a lot of money. So he thought, I'll just start this pizza company, because he used pizza because it takes a while to make it. So while the pizza's being made, you can go in the arcade and spend your quarters, and then they had obviously the animatronics for the show. But who knew that freaking Chuck E. Cheese was made by a dude from Atari? So like, That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I had a Chuck E. Cheese. I still do near where my mom lives. They actually just expand it. I haven't been in there in years, but yeah, that was definitely a place that had some arcade machines. Maybe if you went to the ice hockey rink, I remember a few arcades there. They were definitely strewn about everywhere back in the day. Now, not so much. It's very rare you'll see like an old school arcade machine. I did go. There is a pizza place I want to do a review of on my Snacky Snack Time channel, but there's a pizza place by me and they have arcade machines. They had Area 51, that light gun shooter game, and they had a pinball machine, and they had like a newer multicade cabinet, so it had like Mario Brothers on there, and you can select other like Nintendo games and stuff. And I was like, this is pretty cool. I would almost come here and get pizza more just to play the arcade games.
Yeah, we're pretty lucky. We have Frankie's Fun Park, which is basically what you were describing earlier with the laser tag and the games and the go-karts and all that jazz. And then, but we also have an arcade museum, which I think you were here last year and went to. Yeah, and they have a ton of pinball machines, probably like 20 pinball machines and probably like 40 arcades.
Yeah, it was a good time. They had the player versus of Super Mario Brothers and Excite Bike, which was really cool. And then, of course, your classics like NBA Jam, the Fighter, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat.
And it's kind of a good deal too, because you can pay $10 for entry, and then after that, everything is free play. But something I had never thought of, the last time I went with my neighbor, he was like, he was like, if I was playing a game and I got bored of it, I could just walk away. He's like, because I didn't put that quarter in it, I wasn't as invested.
Right. Where it has, you get those countdown screens where, okay, it's like 10 seconds. Like I remember Final Fight, like you're tied up and there's dynamite and he's like, and you're like, well, I got to continue. Like he's going to blow up. Guy's going to blow up.
Slowly starts to shake faster.
Right. And it makes you want, I remember there's a few of them that if you hit maybe start or something, it would reset the clock. And we did this many times where I'm like, I don't have a quarter when I was at the bowling alley and I had to go run to my mom, like, hold the timer. And I'm like, give me another quarter. I'll run up like, okay, we got like $1, like get a little bit further.
So speaking of Final Fight, that is one of the arcades that I have a deep affinity for. And it was the summer of 1993, I was staying with my grandparents at Surfside, and I was probably there about 2 weeks. And I had a season pass for this water park across the street from them called Wild Water and Wheels in Surfside Beach, South Carolina. So I would spend all day, hanging out at this water park. And then when it was time to leave, I'd always like play Final Fight before I left.
Okay.
So like I loved Final Fight. And then so when I got back home, it was like right around the time of my birthday in July. And my dad was like, all right, Jay, what do you want for your birthday? And I was like, I want Final Fight for the Super Nintendo. Nice. But I got super lucky. And a couple of years ago, I don't remember what channel I was watching, but they were talking about how you could find arcade one-up cabinets at Walmart for $50.
Wow. Okay.
So I called like 30 Walmarts in the surrounding area, and I finally found one that had 3 of them. And on my break, I rushed up there, and I actually was able to pick up the Final Fight one arcade and one-up cab for $50.
Wow, what a steal for sure.
I know my wife was not happy, and I was like, look, you're just going to have to be mad on this one because like you're never going to get another one of these for $50. So I'm just getting it and I'll deal with the repercussions.
Try to think, were they $300 new or $150?
I think it might have been $199 or $250. I can't remember, to be honest with you. It may have been $300, but it has a great selection of games. It has Ghosts and Goblins, Final Fight, 1942 or 3, I think, and then Strider. So good mix.
Good mix for sure. Yeah. Oh yeah. You can't beat that.
Yeah. It's like $10, $12.50 a game or something.
Final Fight guy on Super Nintendo is more than that.
Exactly.
I got lucky. My buddy, Tech Wiz X, who runs a YouTube channel, I went down to New York. And he wanted me to film his game room tour, and edit it for him and do the whole 9. So we hung out, and as payment, he actually had an extra Street Fighter cabinet, arcade one-up Street Fighter cabinet.
So he threw that to you?
Yeah, we fit it in the back of my hatchback. Drove it home from New York, and it's pretty sweet. And I ended up putting a Raspberry Pi in it so I can load more games. So now I have, whatever arcade game I want on there, plus Nintendo, Super Nintendo.
We might have to talk about that.
And yeah, I did a quick little video tour because I ended up the later arcade 1-ups were released. The marquee actually lights up on most of them.
Right.
So I bought an upgrade. It was like $70 to switch mine out so it would light up. So it looked a little similar to the original there. And it's on the riser, so it stands a little bit taller, but you can't beat it for the price and the space. I got the big play choice back there, and that thing weighs so much and barely fits in the basement here with the ceiling. And it's just easier to lug around a play choice, an arcade 1-up.
I need to shout out Diehard Gamer Bros because he was super kind and sent me a riser a couple years back. So
nice.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, that makes a big difference when you're 6 foot tall trying to play that thing.
If you want to stand up and play, they do have the stools where you can sit on and play. But although I think you need to be on the riser and the stool to be at the right height.
Yeah. Do you find yourself playing your arcade 1-up a lot?
I haven't lately, but every now and then I'll pop it on. You can hit like random, so I'll just play a random game, and I'll play through some game. Like there was the Batman arcade game that I never played before, Alien versus Predator. I was like, let's see the end of this because I could just put many quarters as I want in it.
Yeah, that is one of the nice things. Like you can play through any of those games, and it doesn't cost you any extra money. I've played through Final Fight the most on mine. Okay,
it's a good one. Do you remember? So back in the day, you're at the arcade and, maybe you want to play Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
You had to take your quarter and put your quarter up on the machine to call next.
That's right. That was the way of saving your place.
But then if the machine had a gap, sometimes you put your quarter up there and then it fell through and you're like, wait a minute.
Oh, man. Luckily, that never happened to me. I was never up there long. I couldn't pull off the moves with the joystick the way that I could with a controller, with a D-pad.
Gotcha. On the fighter games, you're saying Street Fighter.
Yeah, like a Hadouken. Man, it's just like so much harder.
I definitely remember the first time seeing Scorpion's fatality, him pulling his mask off and the skeleton face and breathing fire on someone. I was like, yo, this is crazy.
Yeah, that was wild. That was Mortal Kombat. Like, that game was pretty revolutionary. Isn't that the reason we have the rating systems now?
It is. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just because of how it was different it was from everything else. You got Street Fighter where it's, cartoony or whatever. And then they came out with these like live action capture guys. And then you're doing these fatalities. You're like, parents were in an uproar back then.
Yeah. I remember, what's hilarious about that is my dad's was a Baptist minister.
Okay.
He actually bought me my copy of Mortal Kombat and didn't even question it.
I raised my son good. He's not going to turn to the devil.
Either he just didn't know or he just didn't care. I'm partially to think he just didn't care because I tend to do that way with my son.
You're like, yeah, it's what it is. So I say again, it's from last week's episode when we were talking about 90s cartoons. My mom didn't care about me watching Beavis and Butthead, so she wasn't gonna bat an eye at me getting Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. I guess he was like, it's a video game, whatever. But it was funny because I remember buying it for the Game Gear instead of my Super Nintendo because it had the blood code.
Oh, right.
ABAC, ABB, maybe I can't remember now.
Get that blood.
No, it was 212 down up. Sorry,
now you remember. Jog the memory.
That was the Game Gear. The ABAC, ABB might have been the Sega.
I put a poll out on the YouTube channel asking people what they remember, and we got a response from Luke. Luke said his first game he remembers playing was Super Mario World at a Rocky and Bullwinkle restaurant in one of those play choice cabinets.
Nice.
I've never heard of a Rocky and Bullwinkle restaurant before, but I do have the play choice back there. Yeah, you can definitely load different games onto that. So that's pretty unique.
What's funny is when I first got into collecting, my friend was like, "Oh, dude, check out this Play Choice 10." I don't remember those from being a kid.
Right. I don't. It wasn't at Milford Rec. I didn't remember seeing one there. It probably would have made more sense to have these at like a pizza place because you have 10 games you can choose from. You put more quarters in and all that. I don't know. I'm sure they were expensive to get, maybe. So maybe that's why I didn't see them at a pizza place. They were just better off with a Pac-Man or a Donkey Kong.
Yeah, maybe. That's so funny.
Not too bad.
What about are there any, how do I phrase this question? Are there any YouTube channels you watch now that used to cover more like video games, but now they're more like arcade stuff, since all this arcade stuff's been coming out?
Not switched like that. I mean, I did watch back in the day when we were watching Game Chasers and all that, and then some other channels similar to them came out, and there was what was it? Arcade Impossible, I think was the name of the channel, and they were going out getting arcade cabinets, and then thought that was fun to watch. But I never watched too many other channels with arcades. Yeah,
so I am a huge Michael B. the Game Genie fan. Okay, he had this like Nintendo Complete Collection Chronicles that I've completely copied, if I'm being honest. And I just love to see like his Nintendo collection grow. And then one day he just sold it all, and now he is like obsessed with these arcade one-ups and whatever that other company is that does the arcade games. And it's still fun to watch because Michael B is Michael B, and it's fun. But his content has completely shifted since all this arcade stuff's been happening, where you can like make your own home arcade for,
right. He had, I saw some pictures. He has like, like a spare bedroom almost. Yeah. And he has probably 12 arcade one-ups lined up, and he changed the layout of them, maybe against the wall. He tried to do another row in the middle to really make it feel like that arcade experience from back in the day.
I just thought it was interesting how because these weren't available until when did Arcade One-Up come out? It's been out at least like 4 or 5 years now, right?
Yeah, at least that.
But it kind of changed the landscape a little bit because getting having your own home arcade, I guess unless you're Arcade Impossible, it wasn't something that was feasible for many people.
Right. To get a regular arcade machine for the common consumer, they're like, oh, that's too hard. Like they'd have to, maybe upgrade the joysticks or something like that. And it's heavy, hard to move around, and maybe it won't work, or they don't know how to work on it. And they're expensive, over $1,000.
Takes up a lot of space too.
Takes up a lot of space. And you got to have almost like a truck to get it. It wouldn't fit in like a small car like mine. I got a hatchback, 4-door hatchback. These just made it that much easier. Like, oh, okay, these are lightweight. It has a modern screen in it, so it keeps it light. And I can get which one that has a few games, because the Street Fighter one came with Street Fighter 2, Turbo, World Warriors. So you get a couple. So it's not just one game.
But that was interesting just because it kind of created this whole new market for gaming.
Absolutely. And now, so have you ever been to Barcades? These are kind of like fairly new, I guess, within the last 10 years, maybe, or so.
Like you can go have a beer and play some games.
Essentially, it's a bar with arcade games in it. A Barcade. I mean, that's a name brand of. There's one in New Haven, and I just visited one in Philly, and it's just called Barcade. But they have other ones that people make, and it's the same concept.
I think there might be one downtown that I went to once, but my memory's foggy. But yeah, I've heard of them, but I don't remember going except maybe one time.
Yeah, I've gone to one in Southington called Game Craft, and they have a ton of pinball games. And then your classics, Donkey Kong. The wife was playing Miss Pac-Man a ton, and her friend was playing Tapper. She's trying to get the high score in Tapper. But they also had some areas with like CRT TVs, and you can play like Mario Kart on there. Nice. So it's definitely a fun vibe. And, all the decorations are gaming related, and they do trivia nights. So it's kind of like, all right, let's get this older crowd that enjoys drinking. I don't drink, but, brings other people out that maybe want to drink, and you can play video games and have a good time.
But they probably at least have like bar food, like some wings or some fries you could.
Yeah. Well, me and my wife had like our first official date there. It was like St. Patrick's Day last year, and we went there for trivia, and we got like, I don't know, chicken fingers or
nice
fries, something like that.
Something fun. Yeah, that's awesome.
But I enjoy going to those every now and then. Other than that, there's Dave and Buster's.
Yeah, we have that here at Greenville too. I forgot about Dave and Buster's.
It's a lot of newer style arcade games, and you kind of get those not really older ones thrown in, but they had a what is it? Was it Resident Evil? No, House of the Dead shooter game that you can play. I played that a ton, and they had like Guitar Hero you can play, but a lot of newer stuff. They had like some giant Halo shooter game you can jump into, and like a Tomb Raider game.
Nice. What are your thoughts on arcades as an adult? Do you find that you like them as much as you did when you were younger, or is it more of a novelty kind of thing for you now? Because I definitely have an opinion on it.
I mean, I definitely enjoy them probably about the same. I spent a ton of time in arcades because that one Milford Rec or Smiles that I spoke about back in the day, it was maybe a block away from the bowling alley where my mom worked. So a lot of times I would walk from there up the post road and hang out, and they were open to like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., very late. So I would go there even if I didn't have any money, and I would watch the other kids playing the games, playing Mortal Kombat, Killer Instinct, and, they were good. So I'd see all the fatalities and finisher moves and just enjoying the atmosphere. Gotcha. Of course, back then they were smoking in there too. So you got a lot of like smoking and drinking and all that. So I didn't enjoy that aspect, but
right.
Still, they had cool music playing, and it was arcade games.
Yeah. I do kind of like the atmosphere of an arcade. You go in, you hear all the boops and beeps, and like different things going off. That's kind of fun. But I know that since I got my Final Fight cabinet, like I don't play it nearly as much as I thought I would.
Okay.
And I also find that I just prefer gaming on a console. I just prefer a controller. I feel like it's so much easier to use than the joystick. And I don't know. I'm honestly a little bit disappointed in like how much I've enjoyed it. Like I tried to play a Simpsons game a couple of months back, and I was like, man, this doesn't hold up the way I thought it would.
Like in the arcade, you were playing the Simpsons game?
I think I was at a friend's house, and he had like this like modded arcade.
Oh, I see.
So I could just go through and pick whatever. And I played the Simpsons. I was like, I don't know exactly what, I can't describe it, but it just maybe because I wasn't actually in an arcade. I was just at my friend's house. I don't know. It just didn't. I
feel like maybe if you're trying to almost capture that nostalgia feeling, you almost have to be in that atmosphere. You need the dim lights, the cool laser lights, fog, maybe some fog in there, kicking music.
Like, dude, I need you to smoke a cigarette around me real quick.
Right. Well, speaking of, I mean, a lot of people would have the cigarette and they would leave it on the edge of like the plexiglass panel
and
burn it. You would see that a lot of times on if you're looking at an arcade machine and you're like, okay.
Yeah, that's funny.
But yeah, I think it's the atmosphere. My old boss, I used to work at Retro Games Plus, and he has a ton of arcade machines. And he used to have a warehouse, like a storage place that he would keep them in, because we would bring these. He puts on an expo every year called Retro World Expo in Hartford, Connecticut. And he would bring out a ton of these arcades so you can have a free play area. But in the off season, you keep them in this warehouse. And I worked at the store, gave me a key. And he was like, if you want, come hang out. You could go down there anytime you want. So a lot of times I would go down there, and we had like rope lights in there, and you put on the radio, turn off the regular house lights, and kind of get that vibe. It was, Saturday night, and I'm at the arcade, just hearing all the other, beeps and boops, as he said, the arcade machines. Just puts you in that vibe, and it's like fun to hang out and kind of takes you back.
Yeah. It was definitely more fun going to the arcade down the road, with you guys last year. Everybody was there, and
at the museum. Yeah,
that's fun. So I really enjoy that. I'm pretty lucky to have one so close too. It's like 10 minutes from my house.
Nice. Yeah. And it's a fun, it's tiny, but it gets the job done.
That's right.
And then
I'm jealous I didn't think of it.
Yeah. You could have opened it up.
That'd have been sick.
Well, there's still time, right?
There's still time. Jay's Arcade coming to a back alley near you.
Back alley. Arcades, baby. Yeah, I remember the coin machines too. Putting in, all right, you got $1.05. I don't know if it did 10 or like 20. Every time I go with my dad, put the 20 in, just like all these tokens or quarters will come out, and you're like, yes, it's go time.
I have a Namco token somewhere with Pac-Man on it that I kept.
Nice. Yeah, I don't have any from Smiles, that local place. One other place I did go to, which is still open, as far as I know today, is it's in New Hampshire. What the heck is the name? Fun Spot. It's called Fun Spot. And they have a ton. That's where, if you watch the Donkey Kong movie, King of Kong.
Okay.
King of Kong.
Right.
It's filmed there.
Okay.
That's where they have the guy that competes against Billy Mitchell, and he's on the Donkey Kong cabinet. That was filmed there. And I've gone there, and they have like, the first pinball machine and ton of arcade games. It's 2 floors. They have a bowling alley downstairs, in a little restaurant. And last time I went, it was like winter time, but I think they do have stuff outside as well, like probably a mini golf and like bumper cars as well.
I'd like to go somewhere that was like a real famous place, like Galloping Ghost or whatever that other famous one is that I'm forgetting at the moment.
I haven't heard of Galloping Ghost. What's that one?
So Galloping Ghost is in Illinois. And the only reason I know about it is because of Megadan29.
Okay.
He lives out there and he talks about it sometimes. So, but it's supposed to be a pretty legit arcade in Illinois, Chicago area.
Nice. The only other one I've been to out of state, when I go to Portland, Oregon, there's Ground Zero is like a barcade place.
What's the one where they hold all the records?
Oh, now it's blank. My mind's blank. That the place that holds the records that like had the Donkey Kong and Billy like goes all in there.
What is that place called?
Is it Twin Galaxy?
Twin Galaxies. Nailed it.
Yes.
Good job, Russ.
2 points.
Coming in clutch.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, when we go out, I visited my friend once in Seattle, and he had a local barcade place there that we checked out, and they come up here and there. I mean, people still are enjoying arcade games, and now it's like, again, when, like we said, these arcade 1-ups that are coming out, they're making them more elaborate. I saw someone put together a Ridge Racer arcade cabinet.
Yeah,
you could do that. I mean,
they like seats and stuff,
right? Didn't they come out with the Star Wars 1 2 was a little bit different?
Yeah, it had like I don't know what they call that thing.
But yeah, the control, I don't know,
like the extra weird controller. I'm sure the arcade people that are listening to this are like, it's called this.
Well, speaking of weird controllers, did you ever get to try the Afterburner one where you sit in the giant cockpit and it rocks back and forth and side to side?
Maybe. That sounds vaguely familiar.
They're huge. Like, they weren't in many arcades, but like I really enjoyed like those. Like, it's a more immersive experience.
Yeah.
Those were sweet. The racer games where you get in and you have your seat and everything and you can shift with the wheel.
Yeah, that's
so much fun. Cruising USA, like played that a ton.
Yeah, I played that a ton too. I remember playing that a lot. There's a game at the Frankie's Fun Park where we live now. It's like a Jurassic Park game, and the gun has like vibrations and stuff, right. and like speakers behind your head, so it sounds like dinosaurs are behind you.
Oh yeah, they thought of it all now. I like the Resident Evil one at Dave and Buster's has that, and then it has like puffs of air that'll come out like the zombies are like behind you.
That's creepy. That's creepy.
Did you go inside like you're sitting in a like cabinet and there's like curtains?
Like a little chamber. Yeah.
Because they have that, and then the Luigi's Mansion one where you go in and you have the Poltergust 3000 like gun. And I was like, name. This is fun. Yeah. I mean, so they're still making some good ones now. There's plenty of what is Konami making now? Pachinko machines. There's a Castlevania one.
Oh Lord.
I haven't played it. I've never been to Japan, so I don't know how it is over there in the arcades. I know they're noisy because of all the Pachinko machines.
Yeah, that's sad. Konami's this shell of its former self.
Skeet ball. We haven't talked about any of the ticket machines. I mean, I played a ton of Skeet ball and those like where you have the coins that are on that conveyor belt that's going back and forth, and you got to drop the quarter in to knock more coins off to get tickets.
I remember playing that a ton in like the mid 90s. Like me and my friends went to the beach one summer, and like that's all we did. And it had like an alarm on it. So if you like banged it to try to make them fall, you're gonna get in big trouble. There's a candy machine like that in Greenville at the it's like the same concept but with candy.
Yeah.
And dude, I've won some tons of candy off that thing before. Way more candy than I ever won coins, but
there we go.
It's a lot of fun.
I saw that. Me and my wife just went on vacation earlier this year to California, and we drove the coast and we stopped in Santa Monica, and there was an arcade there. I was like, we have to go in. So we browsed around for like 10 minutes, and they had like Marvel versus Capcom in there, and they had Initial D arcade cabinet, like racing the anime about the cars and stuff. And I was like, I've never seen this before. That was sweet. They had a few other fighting games for what is it? Time Cop. Is it Time Cop where you step on the pedal? What is that?
I'm gonna be honest, Russ, I don't know.
I can't remember if it was Time Cop or Virtual Cop, but you would step on the pedal. They had like a pedal in your gun, and you would step on the pedal, and you would like duck away behind a box.
Oh,
and you
wow.
Release it, and you would pop out, and then you'd like shoot some more.
That's kind of cool.
So that was clever. That, and I've seen twice now the Crazy Taxi arcade, where it's like it's a stand-up machine, and then it has the steering wheel, and then you have the pedals, so you're standing up driving it.
Oh, weird. That seems like it might be awkward.
Yeah, it's a little, I mean, it takes up less space instead of having the full, car seat that you're sitting in. But I played it twice and, it was fun. Definitely cool having the steering wheel instead of using a Dreamcast controller.
Do you have a favorite arcade, like your all-time favorite?
I would say I had Killer Instinct.
Killer Instinct.
The wife was going to try to get it for me because Arcade 1-Up was releasing one, but it was like, because it's like a premium model or something. So it's like $1,000 or something. Wow. Yeah. And it's what's funny is I can't get that game to work on the Raspberry Pi on my Arcade 1-Up.
Oh, bummer.
And so I have to play like the Super Nintendo version because I was stoked when that came out and I have like the guidebook with all this stuff. But I would watch that a ton in Milford Amusement. And when I saw someone use Cinder and do like the 99 hit combo that you can do, and I was like, that's awesome. I want to try that. You can do it with him. And then they unlock the final boss Idol and you can do a 99 hit combo with him. I was like, this is sweet. And I just enjoyed the graphic and the music, killer cuts, so much fun. So eventually I would like to get the Killer Instinct cabinet.
I think the TMNT one's probably my favorite all time.
Yeah. I mean, super classic for sure. 4-player.
Yeah.
And they do have the Arcade 1-Up if you didn't want to spend the big bucks to get the other one.
I think that 4-player made it pretty unique because like, you didn't have to wait. Like if you and a couple friends were there, everybody could get on it and go nuts.
And some person could just jump in, play on the end for like a quarter and then die and leave. And then you're like, all right, and we're still going. And then someone else can jump in. So between, 10 kids, you can end up beating the game.
That's right. That's right.
That's fun for sure. Yeah. I mean, arcades, hey, go check them out. We'd love to hear your thoughts and comments about them. Maybe your favorite arcade machine. And we appreciate you guys watching or listening every week.
I'd love to know any 1-Up arcades you guys might have too.
Right. Yeah. The big collection is growing because they're always coming out with new stuff.
Exactly.
Sweet. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up for this week's weekly Warp Pipe episode. We hope you guys enjoy it. Come back every Saturday at 7 a.m. To listen, and we'll have a fun topic next week. Leave a comment on what topic you want us to cover because we don't know yet.
Preparation is key.
That's it. All right, guys. As always, I'm RussLyman, and keep your world fun bit by bit.
Take care, guys. Have a good week.